I don't mind a little cold weather, snow or ice.
But when it becomes too intense, it isn't very nice.
At first, snow is beautiful. It's fluffy, white, and rich.
But when I have somewhere to go, it's such a fucking bitch. All I want to do is trot on over to the store. But now there's all this snow and ice that wasn't there before. I cannot walk 10 feet without falling on my ass. I must be honest and I'm sorry if this is kind of crass.
Hello and welcome to the Heroic Review. This is our weekly episode review. This week we are taking a look at the latest episode, Hearthbreakers. In this week's episode, it's Christmas. Joining me is Greg.
Merry Christmas in October.
Gray.
Hola, amigos.
PDK.
Anastasio.
And Webshoter.
Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween or Merry Christmas. Which one is it again?
It is a bit out of sequence. I think they wanted to have another Christmas episode but couldn't sort it in the running order. So, yeah. So, general impressions of the episode. Greg?
I thought it was very good. I liked seeing a little more of Pinky's family and ye old Amish talk.
Gray?
It was a good episode.
PDK?
Second favourite character ever, Maud Pie, more of that. Yep, love the family, love everything to do with Pinkie Pie's family, so yeah, brilliant episode.
Webshoter?
It was a very enjoyable episode. Maud Pie, Pinkie Pie's family, getting to see more of their characters and just more story building and world building.
And getting to see their characters at all.
Yeah. We did get a little bit of a recap from the Hearthswarming Eve episode where the play was put on, which I believe is called Hearthswarming Eve.
Yes.
Not the most imaginative title.
No. We got a little recap of the history there, which was nice. More continuity nods. We love continuity nods here on the Heroic Review. It is our official favourite part of the show.
We will be
be
making horse cookies this heartwarming.
Nick Confalone was the writer of this episode. I believe this is the very first episode that he's written. We had the two sisters, Marble and Limestone. They were named by G.M. Barrow, who wrote the previous week's episode in the books that she wrote about Pinkie Pie and the family. And this is also the first time that we've seen them all together, given that Maud Pie wasn't part of...
Sorry. You're also wrong. It's not his first episode.
Isn't it?
No, Party Pooped was his first one.
Oh, I love Party Pooped! We're going to keep this bit in. We'll just keep this bit in.
Frickin' wiki.
No, it will allow all of the viewers to know that you can be wrong about things. If
That's
they
true,
didn't
that
already
is a
know
good.
that.
That's impossible.
You must remain appearing omniscient.
Okay, no, I can be fallible. This is a case where I'm fallible. I love Party Pooped. I love those yaks. They were just so destructive.
Moving on, Hearthbreakers.
Hearthbreakers. Well, let's not just do a recap. Let's break down Pinkie Pie's family. So Pinkie Pie's family and the name Pinkamena Diane Pie and the whole thing about rocks was an idea by M.A. Larson, which was never supposed to be a thing, but it got made into a thing. It was supposed to be Pinkie Pie being an unreliable narrator about her own life, but what we got is a family of rock-obsessed weirdos who are all grey and who all live in a farm, farming rocks.
Yay for grey.
Which, let's be honest, is the best possible outcome.
Do we all think that this was the direction they should have gone, or should she have been incorrect in her history?
See, I like the idea that Pinkie is an unreliable narrator because often you imagine she is that, but because they keep extending these jokes out, I imagine they should have done something different, but what we've got here is quite funny as it works for me. But it's a bit annoying that they just every time something is introduced as a bit of a joke, even from season 1, it always gets expanded to be, well, it's canon now because the fans have made it so popular. So that's kind of annoying.
It's like
the scheme of things.
The joke where they're trying to give excuses to Pinkie Pie that they can't go to her party of one, and they make a joke about a bear that they have to go and look after, and then they introduce that bear later on. And that's weird because it was just kind of a silly joke, but there is an actual bear character because they decided that there should be a bear. But so it is an example of something that might have been worth contradicting being enshrined in canon. Greg?
At least they haven't shown us Harry's really nice cave yet.
It's
and
true.
Also, if they hadn't expanded on that joke, we wouldn't have Iggy and Big Mama Q, so not even go there.
Oh, yeah. That's some pretty good naming, actually, yeah. But no, it's weird. The idea I think Larson was trying to have for Pinky's backstory was to give her as unlikely a backstory as possible so that it seemed entirely fraudulent, because it is impossible that this bright and happy pony could come from a background of grey rock farmers who all didn't understand joy until Pinky showed them a party one time in the corn silo.
What's wrong with being gray?
There's nothing
Why
wrong
the hell
with
do
being
they have
grey.
a corn silo on a rock farm?
No, it makes no sense. Yet another reason why this possibly should have been discussed. Webshoter?
I actually found it interesting on how the family was portrayed. The way I saw it was basically that they were all a representation of different emotions. You had Marble Pie, who was the shy, bashful one. You had Limestone Pie, who was the grumpy, aggressive type. And then you had Pinky, who was happy-go-lucky, and the parents were just pretty much neutral.
A terrible, deathly neutrality.
Damn neutrals.
Great.
I think they could have done better with Limestone's name. They could have named her Key Lime.
No, they had her as Limestone partially because of Key Lime Pie, but also so all the Pie sisters would have the initials M, L, and P. At this point, Maud Pie didn't exist.
Wow. I did not see
Damn it,
that.
you
I did
people.
not see that.
Yay!
Okay, so what do we think, taking over your job here, Mr. Deadlyreg, what do we think of the juxtaposition between the pie and the apples? Did that work for everyone?
The pies have some really weird traditions that I thought were interesting, and I thought the way the apples reacted was interesting, because that does seem kind of believable. It's like, we want to show them, how we do things, but they kind of got a little ahead of themselves and skipped the respect how they do things part.
I think they did a good job of portraying a series of traditions that made no sense and were awful, but that could also be partially believable in the confines of a cartoon. They were believable that they hide all the presents and sometimes they don't find them all, and they eat rock soup and sit quietly. And
Rock soup, for the record, is a real thing.
It
Pretty
is?
good.
Yep.
You don't actually eat the rock, though. It's just for flavor.
oh, is it like a natural salts or?
No, it's a joke.
Oh, is
You
this...
literally make soup with a rock in it.
That sounds like stone soup. Is it stone soup?
Yes, it's stone soup.
Stone soup. I see. You eat around the stone in stone soup.
Yeah.
Okay, that was good.
Anyways,
Apart from an ancient story about a magical soup transforming stone, I really liked the pies. I liked their traditions. I liked how quiet the family is in comparison to Pinky, and how quiet they have her being around her own family.
I don't know, Limestone wasn't very quiet.
She wasn't.
She was usually yelling.
She was quiet if things were going right. PDK?
Just back on the juxtaposition thing, I really like the way they introduced the pies traditions and made Applejack just, go crazy with, oh, they're not doing it right. And the villain obviously definitely was Applejack. Her lack of respect for other people and her thinking that her way was the only way you celebrate. It was really nice to not just see them harp on that, oh, look at how weird these guys are, and really firmly state that, yeah, Applejack, there is no one way. Each family does their own thing.
She was just pretty much lacking open-mindedness, while it seems like all the other members of the family were just kind of going with the flow.
Great.
I'd like to get on to the Canadian writers of the show for writing a Southern character, which their stubbornness overshadows their Southern hospitality. Anyone who lives in the South knows that Southern hospitality matters before stubbornness.
You can confirm being from the most south you can get in the United States before it stops.
Yeehaw.
I wouldn't necessarily say that what she was doing was being stubborn, but yeah, you're right that her hospitality should have been the foremost thing in her mind, but I think it was her looking at the situation and wanting to basically kind of put something right. It was her seeing this situation around her and going, oh, wait, they've never had this. We'll show them. And her extending, overbearing with her hospitality rather than being stubbornly set in her own ways, I would read it as.
Good point.
It's kind of stubbornness and hospitality together.
She was so stubborn about giving them a good time that she made them have a terrible time. Which I think it might be a line from the episode.
There you go.
If anything, here's another way of looking at it, is that she's so used to having things a certain way, it's her comfort zone. And the fact that she was taken to a place that had completely different setup and everything, it was just making her really uncomfortable. She didn't know how to cope with it.
Don't let some Applejack fans hear you referring to her as a background pony, Gray.
Yeah, great.
Oh, you mean how they are writing background ponies all season and they finally characterized one background pony? Applejack?
That's clever. Bet
Yeah,
she's the
totally
best, smartest,
original.
and all-around best background pony. Ha! Yeehaw! But no, the quiet discomfort of the Apple family in the face of the Pie family traditions was fun because you could see why they were getting uncomfortable, but you didn't necessarily agree with them basically taking a big dump all over the Pie family traditions.
Well, the point being, it wasn't
Hang on.
them, it was Applejack.
Yeah, I think Applejack was the only one who had a problem with it.
I think the other thing that was a bit weird was that they went back to Pinky Apple Pie and kept referencing that they might be long-distant cousins. Like, that
All
got
while
referenced
forcing
a lot.
Mac and Marble together in a really shipper-friendly setup.
Well, my point is they've been doing that a lot this season. It seems like they're constantly, I don't know if they're worried that 5 seasons in, some people might not have seen or might have forgotten already X, Y, and Z. They keep dropping hints a lot back to normal other continuities. But also, I totally disagree with those shipping goggles. Everyone really wanted them to be a thing, and it's the fandom wanting to pair up the few male characters with somebody because that's what they like to
But
write.
they were so shy around each other.
Oh my god, just because they were shy around each other didn't mean they wanted to...
They probably do. That's how horses work.
Shut up.
Oh,
In
It's
a lot of
also
ways.
how any sort of not terribly socially comfortable person would react to being shoved together with someone they barely know.
Exactly. It's not necessarily, oh my god, romance. It's, dude, the two
Y'all
shy
need to
characters.
take off the shipping goggles, fandom.
Exactly.
Take them off and smash them with a hammer.
Look, as my theory goes, if shipping Marble Pie and Big Mac stops the amount of Sherry Big Mac shipping and drives that down to 0.
Lunamac all the way.
If it gets rid of Sherry Mac and it pushes that right out the window and we never hear about a Big Mac Sherry Lee shipping moment ever again, I'll be happy. This
Hey,
episode will have done
It
something
will all have
good.
been worth it.
Yes.
Moving on.
now the shipping wars
back
ignite.
to what PDK had said about calling back to previous episodes and the continuity. The one thing I do kind of get thrown off when they do that, but it is a kids show after all, and kids have a very short memory, like a goldfish.
That's a bit insulting to kids. I mean, some kids
All
are like
sorts of
that.
fish.
Some kids are like that. And goldfish aren't that dumb either.
Can I make a racist joke about it then?
No!
No.
These jokes are banned on the
Let's
Heroic
avoid
Review.
it. Let's avoid it.
Well, fine.
Damn Southerners.
Cut that whole bit out. There we go.
No, I think what was also... I'm not going to just say it was good, but I thought it was some clever writing that they then went back, after all the traditions of the Pie family, they go back and explain why they have all of these terrible traditions, and it all makes a kind of sense once you get the meaning of it all. And I think that was a clever way of pointing out why Applejack was in the wrong, because there was this layer of information that all of the other characters knew because they'd taken 5 minutes out of their day to actually talk to people, as opposed to making snap judgments about the situation. Great.
Again, like I said last week, touching subjects like this is pretty nice. All you have to do is stop and talk. You don't have to do any convoluted plan. You don't have to try to find something out. If you just stop and ask someone why and talk to them, it's better than trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Really good take on that whole thing, too, because I think we've all met people in life who, look at traditions or anything like that and judge them without any knowledge of the historical context of how they came to be that way. I think, oh, this is stupid. Why do you do it like this? And if they take 5 minutes to look at it, I think I'm just restating what someone already friggin' said.
No, you.
Always got to get context, though. It's fine.
Context is king.
Anyway, yeah, context and background are important.
Does anyone want to say how great Maud was in this episode?
She was great. There we go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well put. Maud Watch 2015. Maud remains good character.
Agreed.
Alright, is there anything anyone else wants to say about this episode?
Did anyone besides a few of us catch the references that were in the earlier part of the episode?
I was going to ask about that.
Which specific references? And I don't like the reviews descending into us listing our references. We could do a blog post on that rather than a podcast.
True.
But let's just mention one. What did we miss or possibly say?
The Flintstones house as the train station.
Well, I didn't catch that, but okay.
It was. I would say it's just a train station made of rocks because it's a rock farm, but not necessarily very Flintstone specific.
Well, when you make a building with giant slabs of stone, it's going to kind of harken back to the Flintstones aesthetic, no matter how you go about it.
True.
Well, I didn't know about the Flintstones, but I was actually referring to the characters on the train with the Apple family and a few of the other passengers. You have a character that looked like the mom from Home Alone, and two of the ponies that looked like the actors from the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, although I probably said the title wrong.
No, that was it, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You had John Candy and the other actor.
Don, I'm going to have to rewatch now.
That is a very good film, though. That was a very good reference. Well done, that reference.
I think they're taking a slightly from the comics, the MLP comics, when they first started. Just a lot of background. You could just get away with, drawing ponies as anything. So I think they're taking a bit of a leap from their book and kind of go, well, we've got all these ponies. We might as well, we've got the time and energy. Might as well make them slight nods to different things. It's nice. It's completely superfluous.
You
some
have
people
a
are going
crowd
to get
to
the
fill, you
references.
might as
Some
well
aren't.
put gags in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
kids, let's see what today's Easter eggs are going to be. Can you spot the characters?
Well, they did get the Big Lebowski ponies in early in season 2, and that was really where I think that was the very first time we looked at something and thought, hey, the people who are making this are total film nerds too. We should hang out, but by the medium of watching their show.
They might be #cool
They must be
teens
some
too.
cool teens too. Can I just briefly touch on the fact that Quartz Pie and Igneous Pie was an arranged marriage, and that statistically they are more likely to succeed than non-arranged marriages?
But their marriage was arranged by a rock.
It was, and who are we to question their beautiful traditions?
I'm so glad not only that you felt the need to bring that up, but also that you thought bringing statistics into it in this podcast where we discuss ponies was entirely necessary for our listeners to know.
It
I
is.
just think that it's worth pointing out that is an actual true statistic, and there is a very fascinating reason why that is the case that I won't tell you. You can go and research it yourselves.
Because
I
they're
wonder if
Indian?
that's
Homework.
I wonder if that statistic's going to work out for Granny Smith after she takes a look at that rock.
What if the rock gives her a hunk?
Finds her a nice apple farm and hunk.
What if it did, though? What if it found
That
her an
would be
apple farm and
hilarious.
hunk?
That would be
Season
absolutely
10,
amazing.
Granny Smith goes on speed dating.
She's
yeah.
all knobbles and dust. There's nothing there for him.
Oh my.
He'll inherit a farm, so...
That's true,
Dude,
actually.
don't be ageist.
What if he marries her just for the land, and then he's like, "This is my land now, apples. You get yourselves away."
Whilst I love our fantasy writing of
She'll get hooked up with
future
one of the pear
episodes,
family, and it'll be a whole thing.
It's gonna be pears from here to tomorrow. That's how it's gonna go. All right, I think we've fully discussed this episode. I feel pretty good about that.
When we get into weird tangents like that, yeah, we've usually discussed everything of importance.
So let's discuss the resolution of this episode. I actually don't remember how it ended, apart from
The
Applejack
boulder fell. The boulder fell.
Oh, hold it,
and
boulder
they
fell.
they left, and then they talked, and Applejack realized the error of her ways because kids show, and they went back and they helped push the boulder back up the hill, and everyone was happy and they enjoyed their traditions.
And then Maud read some rock-themed poetry.
Oh yes, they
It was-
used a joke.
Yes, it was a reused joke.
It's a Maud
and
joke though, so it's good.
I hope they don't... It feels like already with them reusing that one joke that Maud is a one-trick pony, and I'm kind of like, oh, please don't overuse her to the point where even I get sick of her.
It's hard to characterize like that.
Maud is a series of basically directions to speak monotone, speak flat, and the scripting is that she's not very inventive in terms of irony or metaphor. So really, she's one of the better characterized characters on the show. So it would be possible to drive her into the ground if they used her a little too much. But I think their resolution was, and then she found Pinky in the cave, and there was all the apologies. I think it was a decent ending. I think it wrapped everything nice in a neat little bow. Applejack learned a lesson because Applejack is a good and solid, strong background pony who always
And a slight
learns.
bigot.
And a slight bigot, a little bit of a bigot, but she learned at the end that it's okay to have Thanksgiving on a different day than in the United States.
What? Impossible. Who is this?
Canadian Thanksgiving is like October 26th or something. It's something stupid.
Respect other people's traditions, kids.
No.
And don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
I cannot do all the drugs.
I cannot wait for an episode of My Little Pony where the message is don't do drugs.
Well,
Oh, I bet it's coming.
I bet you it's with Pinkie Pie and sugar, and it's rock
No.
candy. It's blue
No,
rock candy.
no.
Oh, come on, that'd be
It'll
funny.
Well, we
be-
kind of already had Rarity in her magical book of making things
Little bit.
hideous.
I wanted to see an episode where Fluttershy gets strung out on ecstasy after going to too many raves.
Oh,
And
jeez.
it's like the Saved by the
Ravershy,
Bell.
is that a thing now?
Ravershy is now a thing. She starts singing "I'm so excited" and breaks down crying. It's beautiful.
Isn't
Okay.
that what?
And
Isn't,
they
what
take
her,
her caffeine pills.
isn't that what her tree friend is supposed to be?
No, her tree friend is not supposed to be a lesson in drugs. Her tree friend is supposed to be a lesson in what it is to understand something. Okay, so that is the heroic review for Hearthbreakers. Joining me this week was Greg,
Long days and pleasant nights and Merry Christmas.
Gray,
See y'all later.
PDK,
Annyeong.
Webshoter.
Take care, everyone. See you in the future.
I was Deadlyreg, and Merry Christmas.
In October.
Bye-bye.
Seasons have problems, summer's hot as balls, but at least I can walk around and not constantly fall.
Speaking of which, autumn is fine despite the leaves dying, and spring has rain but makes up for it with rainbows, flowers.
And other gay stuff.
Winter's fucked up, winter's fucked up.
Can traffic please move faster?
Winter's fucked up, winter's fucked up. Californians are lucky bastards. Winter's fucked up, winter's fucked up. How long will this bitch last?
I hope this shit melts fast.
Fuck winter in the